Let's have a conversation.
Thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure I'll see you at one of these events again
all
soon.
time. We got Mark with the Mindful Reality podcast, who I've been a guest on, and it was a blast.
Thank you for having me, honestly, and I cannot wait to do it again. We're going to do this again in the future. I just know it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good evening. I'm just going to hop on here for a short recap. I'm a little annoyed at CBS just because I rushed back and I said, great, I'm going to make it here for this 10:30 episode. And it didn't even start at 10:30 because if I had known that it was going to start at almost 11, I would have taken my time in getting back instead of rushing, but it's okay. I don't know if I'm going to be doing these recaps every Sunday now that the time I think is moving to 10 officially. But I'm here today. I'm just going to do a pretty quick one. Hi, Miss Nappy Kid. Hi, Ma. I actually forgot about Big Brother until the last 30 minutes. And it wasn't even anything important. It was just the wall comp and the nomination ceremony, which I've seen already. CBS doing us dirty. That's a fact. That is a fact, CBS. That is a fact. So today's episode was basically just showing the HOH comp. And it was also showing us the fight that happened between Corey and Jared. That was the main thing that they were summarizing in this. They started off showing us the wall comp. I actually thought that it was well edited, honestly. Sometimes I look at it and it's not an accurate representation of what's happening, but I would actually say that this one, to me, was an accurate representation of what happened. It was a good summary. So it showed them on the wall, and then it did a flashback to show this argument. Well, let's go back even before the argument. I originally thought that Cirie knew some part of what Jared was going to do because I read a Twitter summary of what Jared was going to do in terms of spreading that or giving that lie about Jag. So it said Jared and Cirie came up with a plan to get Corey and Matt to tell the truth. So I thought that it was their plan that they came up with together. But this episode confirmed that the only thing that happened was that Cirie said, I think the votes are flipping, and I don't know if we can trust Corey. And Jared came up with that plan of saying, Jag told me the votes are flipping on his own. So later on, when I was thinking about it, I was thinking that's probably the case because I can't see somebody as cerebral as Cirie coming up with that stupid of a plan. And she did not. She just told him to check the temperature of what's going on. And this shows you the benefit of Izzy. I mean, Izzy was still there at that time. But if Cirie had told the same thing to Izzy, she would not have gone about it like that. Yes, Izzy got emotional too, but she was still a smarter game player than Jared, I believe. I checked at 10:30, didn't see anything, so went to do something else, and it wasn't until 11:20 when I saw my dad's text that it was on. Yeah, it came on late. It came on late. That's why I don't expect too many people to be on here now. So it showed that background information. It showed the argument, and it showed exactly what I was saying with Corey's diary room entries, where he knew the points that he wanted to bring up in that argument. And he was like, basically, if Jared gets into this argument with me, it's going to make him look bad. The more he says, the worse it's going to make him look. And it did. And it's funny because he's the one who started the argument. He's the one who was like, yeah, call all these people into the room. And he's the one who was continuing with it. He lost his mind with that argument because he's lying about so many things for real that he should never have welcomed an argument with Corey, especially a public one. And he came to Corey and he didn't care who was there. If anything at all, he should have been like, Corey, let's you and I have a conversation privately, because any public conversation, especially one about who's lying the most and the worst, Jared should not have been a part of that at all. And he brought that argument to the table. That's the part that's most baffling about it. He welcomed it. He asked for it. He started it. Hi, Rory. Cirie could tell just by the lack of eye contact. That happens before Tribal on Survivor too. Just in the chat to hear your commentary as I get ready for bed. Yeah, this is not going to be a long one for me either, because tomorrow I'm heading back to New York. So I'm going to have to get all my stuff ready, packed. Time goes by so fast. It seemed like 4 days. It seemed like 4 days was a decent amount of time, but the time goes by so fast. So this is the other thing. So after we got all that background information, it showed the wall comp, and all the diary room entries showed that nobody was rooting for Jared, which was essentially the same thing that happened to Cameron the previous week. One person was rooting for Jared so hard. It showed Cirie crying in her diary room entry. And she cheered so hard when Jared won that HOH competition. Excessively. To the point where I'm like, Cirie, you do realize that you're like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Everybody notices that. Just in the same way people notice who doesn't celebrate for who, everybody noticed that excessive celebration for Jared winning that HOH. And I feel like they are doing a worse and worse job as time goes on of downplaying their relationship. And I don't blame them, because the reason I don't blame them is because there's a human element to that, obviously. She's happy for her son, and she was probably extra emotional because she knew that if he hadn't won, they're putting him on the block and he's going home. So I get that, but that was not a Cirie thing to do. This game has been exposing Cirie's humanity. As much as the people in the house and the fans are like, Cirie is cold and heartless and blah, 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 she's never had to play with people she really cares about on that level before. So now I feel like we're seeing a Cirie that is making more mistakes and is being a little sloppier than she is usually on other shows when she's just there by herself and the alliances that she has are not blood relatives and it's just people that she meets on the show that year. Yeah, I can believe that. It's a lot of excitement on her part, but at this point, they have really been exposed after that blow up. I still think she should have contained it, but like I said, I understand that she probably wasn't even really thinking about the game at that point, but that was not a good look. I think that was not a good look for her to celebrate so heavy. Honestly, anyone who cares already is onto them. Yeah, they don't know they are related, but everyone knows they are close. Yeah, I guess so, but I would always be thinking strategically. I would always be thinking strategically. It's just like if you go back to season 23 when X said that he's a bartender and what did he say? A bartender and a model. Everyone was onto him, but still, he wasn't going to tell anybody that he was a lawyer until the end. So something I wanted to talk about, that's the only thing that I have about the episode. I don't have much about the episode because we already saw the majority of that on the feeds minus the diary room entries. This probably hour that I've seen of the feeds between the time I got back to I was watching a little bit of the feeds during the commercial break and I was watching a bit of the feeds before I hopped on here. And I think that Blue is playing the hell out of Jared. Early Blue at the beginning when they were Boo and they just started, she was fully trusting of Jared and she was telling Jared everything. Literally, to the point where a lot of us were like, are you trying to win or are you trying to succeed in your relationship with Jared? Now, she's telling everybody everything. Well, not everything, but she's telling her main alliances a lot about Jared. And she's saying that she wants to get out Cirie, who she knows is at the very minimum very close to Jared and at most his mother. And I was even just listening to a conversation they were just having on the hammock like 10 minutes before I got on here. And she was saying, I think that you should be careful about Mama Felicia. Nobody has said anything to me or anything, but I think it's, I think that I don't want you to be at risk. When she personally knows that Mama Felicia came to Corey and told Corey, I don't trust Jared and Cirie. And she also said herself personally that she wants Cirie out next week. True, it's a lot of excitement on her part, but at this, I already read that one. I agree. I think she's going to tell everyone to vote her out during double eviction. I strongly feel like Cirie is starting to, the game is really getting to her. And I think that this whole argument with Jared really, not her argument with Jared, but the argument with Corey and Jared, I think that really got to her because when somebody is just yelling at somebody and exposing someone that is someone you just met on the show, sure, you're going to have some feelings towards that if that's a friend that you made. But if that's your son, that's tough. And I do think that if she saw that it would be better for his game for her not to be there, she'd be willing not to be there. And I think that she sees the Big Brother game now and the way that everyone has turned. And she feels like at least Jared can win competitions. I have a hard time with the competitions. And now that the mist has kind of subsided a little bit with everybody just being my fan, I have a lesser chance of winning than he does. I just rewatched Jared coming to Cerise family visit on Game Changers. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and set your notification bell. Thanks, Tammy. The rest of the season is about to be boring. This is when I tune in sporadically. I still tune in just to numb myself. I'm committed. Even if it gets boring, you know I'm going to be here. She wasn't happy at all with how he handled the situation with Corey. Yeah, and that was a key thing that I got from the episode. I knew like 80%. I mean, we all know that. All of us who watch live feeds know that the only thing we're getting from the episode is just basically the diary room entries and different camera angles of the competitions. And what's her name? It was a little interesting that Bowie looked like she threw it on the live feed, but it looked like she actually was tired or she slipped on the episode. I don't know if the episode, the production was trying to protect the integrity of the game, but I don't think anybody said that they threw it. But people looked like they were throwing it when we watched the feed. I think that's probably it. There's no way that competition had all those people and nobody threw it. Please. Even Sari, I know she's not going to be a physical comp beast, but I remember she was off in real time in about 10, 11 minutes or something like that. You can't tell me she couldn't have held on longer than that. Felicia hung on longer than that, please. Bowie threw it. No, she looks at Jared before she let go. Yes, she did. So I was so surprised that those diary room entries did not reflect that. And then even the thing with Blue crying and saying, I really wanted to win and all that. I don't know if that was the truth or if that was an award-winning performance. I feel like I'm starting to feel more and more like the tears were to demonstrate to her side, her like Jag and Corey America, Matt, that she's really with them and she's really with their plans to get them out. But she knows she's good on either side at this current moment. She knows that she's not the target if Jared, Sari, Felicia, who else? I guess that's really all they have on their side at this point. And she knows she's not the target either if Corey, America, Jag, Matt win. Or Bowie or Mimi. Well, I don't know. I can never tell you what Bowie or Mimi are going to do because who knows? Mimi was hardly even in the episode. They gave Bowie a one-liner when they were having the fight. When there was kind of a pause in the fight, and Bowie was like, "So, final 6?" and looked around at everybody, and nobody was smiling. But I thought it was funny. I was like, "Okay, Bowie, throwing in a funny one-liner in the middle of some tension." Matt and Blue were talking about throwing the wall comp. But that's weird because Blue was in the room crying to Matt and Jag about losing the wall comp. So I guess she's keeping things from Jag too. I think Cirie would try to win the HOH during the double eviction round. She said she's going to try, but who knows? If it's either her or him, but the thing is, Rory, Jag was already talking about this and with Matt, and he said in the event that Cirie and Jared were on the block together, they were like, we would rather vote out Cirie. We would rather vote out Jared and keep Cirie. And that makes sense. Because even though Cirie is the smarter player, you take away two of her two closest allies in Jared and Izzy, and she doesn't have that social power anymore. They didn't want to pick sides of the house. Both agreed, Blue and Matt. That was funny. It's hard to say. I know that there's a couple that she clearly threw. There's no way. Oh, she's like, oh, I was having trouble with the button on, I keep forgetting the name of this. Pressure cooker. Oh, I don't know what happened with pressure cooker. Or, oh, I was trying to grip the wall and my hand slipped. You're not even in these competitions long enough for me to really believe that you're trying. She's always the first one out. And I'm like, there's no way. I tend to feel that she's not trying any of those competitions. I know that's most likely her plan, but I don't see her letting that fly. I feel they would respect her wishes out of respect for her. I don't think that this group would respect anyone's wishes. I don't think even if she said, please vote me out, I don't think they would vote her out. They would be like, we're keeping her. I even remember Cameron, when somebody was trying to go, somebody was saying they wanted to go, and Cameron was like, oh, we want that person in the house, because they're basically not going to have a will to fight to be in the game. And that's a person that we want in the game, somebody who wants to leave. Yeah, at this point, none of these people respect each other, and most of them don't trust each other. It's just a matter of who wins the HOH and who wins the power of veto. That's it. That determines who goes home and who stays. We'll get to a point, probably once we get to the final 7 for the jury, where it's going to matter alliances and partnerships and deals and stuff. That's probably going to matter, like final 7. But at this point in time, it's just who wins competitions and who doesn't. Because we know who's going to do what with who based on who wins. Cirie is smart and she's an ER nurse. Come on. I know she's not. She's not that bad at every competition. Yes, there's certain competitions where she was probably not going to win. But pressure cooker, for an example, you can't tell me that she couldn't hold on to the button for an hour. That's not really an age-based thing necessarily. I don't think she was the number one person that was going to win, or she had a good shot at winning. But an hour? Less than 30 minutes, however long it was. Surgical nurse. I got another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to head off. We'll see come Thursday. You definitely don't know with these house guests. They're all wild cards to me. Even Jared, half an hour ago, was sitting on the hammock with Blue. He's still on the hammock with Blue, I think. Well, last I checked. And he said, I'm entertaining the idea of keeping Cam as a shield. But he said it like oh, I'm joking, I wouldn't really do that, or it's just a thought, but I would never do that. But with this cast, anyone would do anything. I would not be shocked if something happened to where he changed his mind and decided to keep Cam. But we will find out tomorrow. Let me see what time my flight is. Well, it depends on when they do the power of veto ceremony. Because last week they did it like 8 p.m. Eastern, something like that. So if they did it around that time, I'd be home by then. And I could hop on live right after. If they do it in the afternoon, I will miss it because I'll be in the air. But either way, when, end of day recap, I just like to get the recaps right after the thing happens. But either way, even if I miss it when they do the ceremony, I'll be on here as soon as I get home and I can get on my Wi-Fi. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting for sure. I might fly over you. I might fly over a lot of people. You're in between. You're somewhere in between Florida and New York. All right, y'all. I think I'm going to call it a night. We are, I think somebody said on Twitter that they're day 50 in the Big Brother house. That's a milestone. 50 days. They're halfway there, halfway home. So I hope everybody has a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I go live every day during the Big Brother season. And I have a streak of apparently 50 days. And I'm going to keep it going. Hopefully I make the whole 100. And I'll talk to y'all soon.
So you literally were one of my very first followers. And then when you followed me and I, followed back, I was like, this dude is cool. Like,
if they say talk to your manager, you just say, you know what, talk to the hand. You don't need to be on my podcast. But, yeah, dude. Yeah, you do a great job.
Thank you. I always get a kick out of talking with you on Patreon. You have a really good, view on everything.
That wasn't planned.
You know what?
Thank
but
you.
I like this Canadian.
Well,
I like this one.
Well, thank you.